Morning, everyone. Steve Crosby here. Welcome to this edition of Monday Morning Musing, where we are continuing on in the passage of Matthew 18, trying to give it some cultural context, trying to see where it does cross over into our universe, where it doesn't, and how there might be some differences and nuances we need to think about. We've talked about going to the individual alone. That's the stage of confrontation, just direct face-to-face. There's 3 stages. Then we've also talked about the second stage already, which is take 2 or 3 witnesses with you. That's like negotiation. If we can't resolve this face-to-face, can we negotiate something? But now we come to something that's really difficult and has translational issues. And that's the so-called bring it to the church. Verse 17. Now, obviously, well, maybe not so obviously, because in the churches that I've been, it isn't obvious at all. It doesn't say, bring it to the head of the 501c3 corporation. It doesn't say, bring it to the deacon board. It doesn't say, bring it to your district superintendent. It doesn't say, bring it to the leadership team. It doesn't say, bring it to your home group leader. It doesn't say, bring it to your regional home group leader. Bring it to the associate pastor. In its broadest sense, it's the community. Now, what was the adjudicating body at the time of Jesus for Mosaic order trespasses or civic offenses? The Sanhedrin. We can't be sure about this, because I think it probably would have applied at a clan level, a family level, a tribal level. It would have been brought to the whole body, the gathered assembly. In the case of the Sanhedrin, that is also how we know that this Matthew 18 stuff has nothing to do with about hurt feelings, because you don't adjudicate hurt feelings. Hurt feelings, in our world, it'd be like going to court. You bring the matter to court. You adjudicate it because you can't work it out. So you adjudicate the matter. You don't adjudicate hurt feelings. So this is another insight into the fact that this passage is not intended to be used about every slight and personal offense that we might experience with one another. The other important thing, to bring it to the community, is a stage that we've been trying to avoid, because that is going to mean public shame, especially if the community agrees that whatever it is you're being is alleged against you is true. It's going to bring shame to you, your family, your clan, your tribe, the nation. So it's not, as I said before, it's not just about your individual guilt or innocence. It's about what happens to the honor status of the entire group. So the entire group gets to have a say in the matter. Now, let's try to bring it into a Christian context. And like I've said, all those examples I just gave a minute ago, they're not legitimate. Bring it to the community. Why? Because the community is a supposed to be many gifted, functioning, active body of diverse points of view, diverse gifts. Let's say the case at hand is a brother, a fairly rich brother has a big corporate entity, and another brother works for him, or a sister, and she's the CFO, and she's breached her fiduciary duty, and she's broken the law, and she's embezzled. And actually, I know I was in a church where one of the board of deacons was embezzling from their employer. So this does happen in God's perfect little church. Do you think that a pastor who knows nothing about corporate finance, who doesn't even know what fiduciary duty means, is somehow mystically and magically qualified to adjudicate this matter because Matthew 18 says bring it to the leadership, which it doesn't say. Bring it to the community. Take advantage of all the resources. That's the positive side. And the negative side is because your behavior has an impact on the community. This take it to the community engages the body. So it works against that cult of secrecy. Now, could there be circumstances of such a sensitive nature that it would be wise to keep it private, to bring it to a leadership level conversation where the leadership acts representatively for the community? Yeah, that could happen, but that's not what this text is saying. That is something that we do with the Spirit-led wisdom that we might be given. Because ideally, we want as broad as input as we can. The other thing that this does is it helps neutralize that where's Cousin Elmer? You know, Cousin Elmer used to be in this year. We haven't seen him in 3 weeks. What's going on with Cousin Elmer? What did Cousin Elmer do? Elmer did this. We don't know. We don't know where's Elmer. Do we need to go after Elmer? He hasn't been. Has anybody called him? Functional families talk about real issues that affect the family. So when you make this passage an inflexible mandate template through which everything passes, and your grid of understanding in terms of the assembly is church, 501c3, board of deacons, you're already misinterpreting this passage. Now, in the next session, I'm going to give you 6 reasons why in our culture we're not serious about this, and why in our churches we won't do this, and why in our society American Christians will never do this, and why Matthew 18, particularly this passage, is we're just all a bunch of little frauds. You know, we say, oh, we want a New Testament church. We want to do things the Jesus way. But then when Jesus brings up something like this, that's not the American way. We want the American way, not the Jesus way. So next week, 6 reasons why we either are not serious about this passage or don't have the courage to implement it. I'll talk to you next time.